All right. I just want to talk about dating in midlife. All right. So, for those of you who have read my blog, I did a couple of articles a few years ago on online dating. And I was pretty in depth. I was on four dating sites. And what I can tell you is it's not the experience that I want to have again. So for those ladies out there who are really struggling with how do you find your man? How do you find the one? I have no freaking idea. That's what I gotta tell you. I have no clue. But what I can tell you is that you really need to be clear on who you are. That's the first step, right? That is the first step. You need to be clear on who you are. And here's the second thing. I want you to write. I'm just going to get a piece of paper here. I want you to write a page or two of boundaries. And what do I mean by boundaries? Well, for example, let's just talk about my top boundaries, right? Must love the outdoors. Must take care of his body. In other words, eat healthy. I don't care if you have a beer every night. Go fill your boots. But I would prefer if the person does not, frequent McDonald's on the daily, right? So the third thing would be a non-smoker. Fourth thing would be no drugs. Fifth thing would be a happy, positive attitude. Okay, so there's my list. And that is in no particular order. Just pulling them out of my head. So since I have this list, and those are my boundaries. In other words, those are the things that are really important to me, and that if somebody enters my life, they need to either have or not have those things. Okay. So here's another tip, and I'm just gonna slide this right in there. If you're he's got to be 6'3", blue eyes, muscular, drive a Jaguar, have a big wallet, know this, know that, blah blah blah. Girlfriend, you are focusing on the wrong things. And I tell you what, you may end up with that dude, but I would love to know if he's actually a good quality person that's going to keep you happy for the rest of your life, right? And basically what I'm saying is that, okay, I'll take a 6 foot something, blue-eyed dude with the Jaguar and big bank account. Who wouldn't, right? But what I want to say, oh my gosh, I tell you, it's squirrel country over here. It's amazing that I don't live in the forest because bing, bing, bing. What I want to tell you is that the most important things are the things on that boundary list. So for example, if I met Mr. Romeo tomorrow and he filled all of my cups, except there were some really vital things on the top of my boundary list that he did not fulfill. For example, he was a smoker, he did drugs, and he ate McDonald's every day. You might be able to look over those things for a while, right? Maybe he only does drugs when he's partying once a month, okay? Maybe he's just a social smoker. Maybe he just goes to the McDonald's drive-thru on the way to work and you don't even see it. What do you think's going to happen years down the road when you're married or you're cohabitating together? And let's just say he starts to party a little bit more. Let's just say he's no longer working, he's retired, and he's going to McDonald's a lot more than that. And let's just say that he's now smoking behind your back, right? So these are really important things that I want you to pay attention to. Like, what are the things, the qualities in a man that you want, right? So if you want somebody who's buff and works out and goes into nature and he's Mr. Everything, I want you to look in the mirror and say, are you Miss Everything? Are you fit? Do you like nature? Are you out and about being active too, right? Because typically a man who does that might not see you, right? And there are lots of cases where there is the opposites attract. Yes, yes, yes. But if you want to attract somebody that fits into your lifestyle, that actually amplifies it, actually magnifies all the good things in your life, then you kind of need to be that yourself, right? You kind of need to be that. So if you want somebody who's got a really good sense of humor, then if you're a prude, what are you looking for? Somebody with a good sense of humor, right? Because he may hang out with you for a week and decide that, yeah, you're not even laughing at my jokes anymore. You're way too snobby. So, right? And then that's it. So your boundaries are also something that are critical for your long-term happiness, like critical for your long-term happiness. Because if you don't have boundaries around things like how you want to be treated, like for example, if on your boundary list is, he will not swear at me. Well, I tell you what, the very first time he swears at you, as in calls you a name, that is your red flag. That is time for you to take a look at your list and say, I told myself that I would never be involved with somebody again who swears at me, who calls me names. And if you let that go, if you don't end it right there and then, you're going to end up with somebody who swears at you all the time. You see how important boundaries are? It is a list that we can refer to when all of the hormones and the fluff and all the honeymoon phase is making us foggy, is making us so we're not thinking straight. And this goes for men too. Everything that I say goes for men too, right? You really need to be clear on what your boundaries are, because when those hormones are raging and everything is just beautiful and fun, you're going to forget what are the important things, and you're going to let these little things slide. You're going to say, oh, that's okay. It's okay if he smokes, right? Meanwhile, he's been smoking a pack a day behind your back, right? And he ends up with lung cancer, and that's something you didn't want in your life because maybe your parent had that, or maybe you had a previous partner who did that, right? So it's really important that you have boundaries and you know what they are before you start dating, because you can refer to that list and say, when I was of sane mind, what was important to me? And when you meet Mr. or Miss Romeo, you can look at that list and say, you know what? You're really great, but the fact that you don't take, value in your body and you eat unhealthy, or you don't exercise, or that you've never been in nature a day in your life and you have no desire to, it's not going to fit with my long-term life plans for what I want for myself and my partner. And he'd probably or she'd probably be better suited for somebody else. I think that's reasonable. So now that you have your boundaries in place, you can choose to go online and be annihilated, be beat up by being rejected or talked down to or stalked or whatever. And again, I'm not beating up the online thing. That was just my personal experience, but I know lots of people that have met their Mr. Romeo or their princess and all that stuff, and they've ridden off into the sunset and got married. That's great. Not for me. But if you want to meet somebody out and about in life, you need to show up how you want them to see you. So in other words, if you really want to meet somebody while you're, somebody who's active, then get active and start loving it and start doing those things. That's where those people are. If you love hiking, get hiking. If you want to, be a gym rat, start going to the gym, right? If you really love going to the theater or to opera or to the library, then you should probably start hanging out in those places. And be open to conversation. Nobody freaking says hi anymore. Say, hey, hi, how often do you come here? Nice to meet you, right? I mean, all it takes is one conversation. All it takes is one smile, one look in that direction, one wink of the eye, one hi. That's all it takes for you to engage in conversation with somebody and to, who knows, maybe open up the door to something really amazing. So don't be shy to actually be a human being and connect to people the good old-fashioned way. You know what? Like, this whole thing, it's just leading us to being disconnected from each other. And then when we meet each other in person, we don't even know how to communicate anymore. So get out there. Live your life. Don't be concerned with what's going on around you and who could potentially, you're stalking somebody down the street. Let things happen naturally. You have to put a little bit of effort in, but be outgoing. Love your life. And trust me, Somebody's going to walk into it and is going to see you out on that hiking trail or sitting reading that book in that library, that coffee shop, and your eyes are going to meet, and that's going to be it. So take that to heart. Put that boundary list on paper. Be who it is that you truly want to be in your life. Start doing those activities, and your chances of meeting that right person, the person that's going to be in your life for the long haul, have just increased exponentially. The universe needs to know what you want. And that means you need to have it on paper, you need to have it in your mind, you need to have it in your heart, and you need to act it. You need to be the change that you want to see. Be the change that you want to see. Okay. Keep me in the loop. Let me know if you find somebody. All right. Have a good day, and we'll see you on the next one.